Houston is the largest city in Texas and the fourth largest city in the United States, with a population of more than 2.3 million people. Known for its massive size and being one of the most diverse cities in America, the city is a global center for energy, aerospace, shipping, and medicine. Home to the Texas Medical Center, the largest medical complex in the world, and one of the busiest ports in the nation. From downtown skyscrapers and historic wards to industrial corridors and suburban sprawl, Houston is a city defined by scale, opportunity, and constant growth. Houston continues to grapple with significant levels of violent crime even as certain categories fluctuate year to year. According to the most recent FBI Uniform Crime Report data, the city recorded 26,628 violent crimes in 2024, with a violent crime rate of about 1,148 incidents per 100,000 residents, including approximately 320 murders, more than 18,000 aggravated assaults, over 6,300 robberies. Preliminary city police data from early 2025 also show a modest rise in homicides compared with the same period the year before, with 112 homicides reported through May 2025 compared to 104 in 2024.
Arrested you and you had to go to court over it. Why are you back? Whatever food in there, is it worth going to jail over? Oh, shoot. Hold on, come on, they shooting. Let's go over there.
Sharpstown. Sharpstown is a neighborhood located in southwest Houston, generally bounded by West Park Tollway to the north, Beechnut Street to the south, Sam Houston Tollway to the west, and extending east toward areas near Hillcroft Street and the West Loop. The neighborhood is home to about 76,236 residents. Sharpstown experiences higher than average crime rates compared with both Houston overall and national averages. Recent neighborhood crime estimates show elevated violent crime levels as well, including an assault rate of roughly 708 incidents per 100,000 residents, a robbery rate of approximately 1,115 per 100,000, and a homicide rate near 16 per 100,000, all exceeding national benchmarks. Property crime is also elevated, with theft, burglary, and motor vehicle theft occurring at rates higher than the citywide average.
Where we are following a developing story from Sharpstown. 3 people were shot on Harwin early this morning. Police do have someone in custody, but the investigation continues. Jade Fleury has the details and all of the questions that still need to be answered.
So officers were actually conducting a traffic stop here off of Harwin Drive. They were pulling over the driver of that black vehicle that you guys see right over there. That's when they heard gunshots coming from the alleyway and saw a man shooting. All of this happened just before 2 this morning on the 6600 block of Harwin Drive off the Southwest Freeway. Police say that 2 officers, again, were pulling over a car during a traffic stop when they heard those gunshots coming from the alleyway. That's when they noticed a gunman shooting into a group of people in a homeless encampment. The officers shot at the man 5 times to stop him. 3 people were injured in total, a 28-year-old pregnant woman and 2 other men. Right now, it's unclear if those victims were shot by police or the gunman, but we did speak to the driver in that traffic stop who said he heard and saw the shooting unfold right in front of him.
As they're walking away, they gave me a warning for my car, and as they gave me the warning, they went back. He's like, I'm not going to give you a ticket. Then we just hear bop, 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 bop. Then I just dug down, and then the cop just pulled it out, started flaming everybody.
Now, all 3 of those victims were taken to local hospitals. 2 of them are expected to be okay, and 1 is in critical condition right now. There is 1 potential suspect in custody. Police say that they also found a firearm and a holster here on the scene.
Sharpstown was one of Houston's first master-planned, automobile-centered communities, developed by Frank Sharp with housing, schools, shopping, and recreation built into the design. At the time, the concept was considered groundbreaking and drew national attention. Between 1980 and 1990, Sharpstown experienced major demographic shifts, with many black residents moving in from other parts of the city, a growing Hispanic population, and an increasing number of Asian residents, helping make the area one of Houston's largest Asian communities. In the decades after its early success as one of Houston's first master-planned communities, Sharpstown began to experience economic and social challenges that reshaped the neighborhood. As shopping centers and local businesses struggled to compete with newer developments in other parts of the city, commercial activity in Sharpstown weakened and property values declined. Rising crime rates, including increases in violent and property offenses, contributed to perceptions of unstable and prompted some residents to relocate. Sharpstown notable gangs and hoods. Houston's rap culture didn't grow out of trend cycles or industry machines, it grew from the streets. From corner stores and apartment courtyards to slab-lined boulevards and parking lot ciphers, the city developed a sound that was slow, deliberate, and unmistakably Houston. Artists didn't chase radio hits, they pressed their own CDs, sold them hand to hand, and built loyal followings neighborhood by neighborhood. Freestyles became currency, not just bars but identity, raw reflections of street life, hustle, and survival.
Glocks and guns to own it, stocks and bonds, heavyweight in the real estate, instead of dropping funds. We got rocks that numb, pinky rings be shining, more keys and baguettes, diamonds be blinded, biting the big time and millionaires still grinding. About our own island with haze on our Hawaiians, in my yacht overseas, nothing but Clover G's. And when I hit foreign streets, stole me the Rover keys. I'm ghetto, fabulous, living lavishness. The words I manifest is harder than calculus, cause I be the children. My game deeper. So much ice, I keep my rocks up in the freezer. Big bags by the carrot.
Alongside the music, another culture quietly took root: lean, often called drink, oil, or syrup. Lean began taking shape in the late 1960s and 1970s, when Houston blues musicians would mix Robitussin cough syrup, which at the time contained codeine, with alcohol or beer to create a sedative effect that helped them relax after performances. This early version wasn't glamorized, it was functional and largely underground. In the 1990s, the mixture of prescription cough syrup and soda became intertwined with the city's slowed-down sound, reinforcing the syrupy tempo that defined Houston hip-hop. Popularized through music and imagery, lean moved from neighborhood practice to global phenomenon, even as its health risks became increasingly apparent.
But at the end of the day, Drake is something I've been sipping syrup is the first drug I ever did in my life. I was in 1999, when I was 9 years old, that's the first controlled substance that ever entered my body. You know what I'm saying? I knew what sipping drink was, and I was past cooked because I was a little kid in the dope house, or I was a little kid at the spot that would be freestyling. I got the Southside fade, and they turning the beats on, screwed up beats on. I'm rapping, I'ma come down, pop chunks around. It's the little walking, I'm from the age time. All of that shit, they love that shit. So yeah, man, nigga, put a cup in your hand, put the glasses on, nigga. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All that shit was installed in me young. So sipping drink to me wasn't a drug, it was a part of my culture and lifestyle, something I'm supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like being from California. You damn near supposed to be a blood or a crip. When you born in certain places, it just come with the territory. So,
if Houston rap has a visual language, it's written on wheels. The city's slab culture, slow, loud, and custom, is as iconic as the music itself. Slabs are rolling expressions of pride, individuality, and neighborhood identity. Candy paint dripping under the sun, neon lights glowing at night, and swingers extending wide from the rims. These cars aren't built for speed, but for presence.
Devo Antoine.
Oldsmobile Cutlass, ooh, this bitch classy. G-body supreme, turn heads in traffic. Ride clean, 84s, 83s, elbows, big pockets. Trunk say I'm body, whole city know somebody. Oldsmobile Cutlass, ooh, this bitch classy. G-body supreme, turn heads in traffic. Ride clean, 84s, 83s, elbows, big pockets. Trunk say I'm body, whole city know somebody. Chevy Caprice, watch my C's, 73, big body, the wide of the street, my swing get increased. I let the trunk pop and you know I got beat. Chevy Impala, I had to go red. My head, I went Cardinals, car matching my head.
Alief. Alief is a neighborhood in southwest Houston, home to approximately 109,634 residents. The area is generally bounded by West Park Tollway to the north, West Belford Boulevard to the south, Beltway 8 to the east, and the Houston city limits near Highway 6 to the west. Alief remains one of Houston's more active neighborhoods for both violent and property crime. Based on recent crime data, Alief's violent crime profile shows an assault rate of about 559 incidents per 100,000 residents, well above the U.S. average of about 283, a robbery rate near 647 per 100,000, compared with roughly 136 nationally, and a murder rate of around 15 per 100,000 versus about 6.1 nationally.
Police are searching for answers after a deadly shooting at a Southwest Houston apartment complex.
Yeah, officers say a young man was killed after gunfire ripped through an apartment late last night. KHOU 11's Devon Roming joins us live from Southwest Houston this morning. Devon, have police made any arrests in this case?
Well, as of right now, no arrests have been made in this case, but police spent hours out here at the scene collecting evidence, speaking with witnesses, trying to piece together exactly what happened in the moments leading up to last night's deadly shooting. Now, take a look at your screen. This is video from what that scene looked like last night. Houston police say it happened just before 10:30 last night at the Ashford Stancliffe Park Apartments in Southwest Houston. Officers were called to the scene after multiple reports of gunfire, and when they arrived, police conducted a welfare check inside one of the apartment units and found a 20-year-old man dead. Investigators say more than 20 shots were fired from a courtyard outside, bullets tearing through both the front and side of the apartment.
This does look targeted to that one unit. So I don't know if they knew exactly who was inside the unit or if there were other people inside the unit that left, but we do know there is one black male inside the unit, deceased.
Police say it's unclear if anyone else was inside the apartment at the time of the shooting. Investigators are looking for 5 to 6 persons of interest that they want to speak with.
Alief, originally known as Derry, began in the early 1900s as a small rural farming community surrounded by flood-prone prairie land. For much of the 20th century, the area remained largely undeveloped, with pasture land, gravel roads, and only a handful of schools and subdivisions. That changed in the late 1970s when large land sales and new development sparked rapid urbanization, including the construction of major apartment complexes, commercial centers, and nearby upscale neighborhoods like Royal Oaks. Between 1970 and 1985, Alief's population nearly quadrupled, leading to annexation by the city of Houston. As Alief transformed from a rural farming community into a densely populated urban neighborhood, it also faced the harsher realities of rapid growth without matching infrastructure and investment. By the late 1980s and into the 1990s, rising population density, aging apartment complexes, and inconsistent public investment contributed to physical decay in parts of the community, with vacant properties and deteriorating buildings becoming increasingly visible. Crime rates, particularly in certain sections of the neighborhood, increased as a result. Alief notable gangs and hoods. Bissonnette, the Blade. Bissonnette Street's The Blade, also called the Bissonnette Track, is a stretch of road in southwest Houston that for decades has been known as a hub for prostitution and trafficking. Law enforcement and media have described it as an area where open prostitution, sex trafficking, and related criminal activity have been concentrated, with pimps, sex workers, and buyers historically active along the corridor. In recent years, the Houston Police Department and local officials have taken steps to curb activity there, including nightly street closures and increased enforcement, resulting in reduced crime and fewer visible prostitution arrests on that part of Bissonnette. Greenspoint. Greenspoint is a neighborhood in North Houston centered around the intersection of Interstate 45 and the Sam Houston Tollway, with its core area extending roughly from Greens Road northward toward Rankin Road and eastward toward East Hardy Road. Greenspoint, referred to locally as Guns Point due to its long-standing reputation for elevated crime, has historically experienced higher rates of both violent and property offenses compared with national averages and many parts of the city. Greenspoint's assault rate is around 529 per 100,000 residents and robbery near 771 per 100,000, and murder rates sit at about 16 per 100,000. Over the decades, frequent reports of assaults, robberies, and shootings, especially in and around high-density apartment complexes and commercial zones such as the mall area. On August 5, 1976, Greenspoint Mall opened, anchored by major department stores including Sears, Houston-based Palais Royal, and Foley's, which was owned at the time by Federated Department Stores, the mall's developer. At its peak, Greenspoint was the largest shopping mall in Greater Houston, before later expansions of the Galleria in the 1980s and 2000s surpassed it. Around the 1980s and 90s, crime in and around the mall contributed to its diminishing appeal, earning it an infamous local nickname, Guns Point Mall, because of a series of high-profile violent incidents and a reputation for theft and safety concerns that discouraged shoppers. By the mid-1990s, motor vehicle thefts in the mall's parking lots were among the highest in the region. Some major events that occurred at the mall were the abduction and murder of Roxanne Alley. Roxanne was a Harris County Sheriff's deputy who was shopping at the mall. She was abducted in the mall's parking area and later killed on September 30th, 1991. The case is still unsolved to this day. A separate shooting in 2007 claimed the life of 20-year-old Joanna Starr Gonzalez, who was shot to death as she was opening a store in the mall where she worked. She was shot by a man police identified as Jason Hawkins, 33, who fatally shot Joanna and then turned the gun on himself, taking his own life, all taking place in a Greenspoint Mall lingerie shop. It was later stated that Jason Hawkins was a total stranger to Joanna and was going through rough times as he was nearing eviction from his apartment. In the hours before he walked into Greenspoint Mall, Jason would set an AT&T where he worked on fire. He also called his ex-wife in Cleveland, expressed his undying love, and then told her to be sure to watch the Houston news before seeing Gonzalez as a victim of opportunity. Events like these became defining moments in the mall's troubled reputation. Efforts to revitalize Greenspoint, including a multi-million-dollar redevelopment plan announced in 2006, failed to reverse long-term decline as anchor stores exited, such as Sears in 2010 and Macy's in 2017. With anchor departures, high vacancy rates above 90%, and a lingering perception of crime and neglect, foot traffic dwindled and the mall shifted toward a dead mall status. Despite temporary fixes and partial renovations, Greenspoint Mall ultimately could not sustain itself. It officially announced permanent closure in mid-2024, with tenants given weeks to vacate as redevelopment plans moved forward. The site is now slated for mixed-use space, including housing and new retail. South Park. South Park is located on Houston's south side, bordered by Loop 610 to the north, Sims Bayou to the south, McCower Road to the east, and a series of local streets that zigzag west of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The neighborhood has a population of about 22,687 residents. South Park has faced persistent challenges with crime, ranking higher than both national averages and many other Houston neighborhoods. Recent estimates show violent crime in the area significantly above typical U.S. rates, including an assault rate of about 1,425 incidents per 100,000 residents, a robbery rate near 617 per 100,000, and a murder rate of roughly 26.7 per 100,000.
Searching for several attackers after a shooting at a gas station left a man dead and another man badly wounded. It happened off of South Wayside Drive and the Gulf Freeway. Victor Jacobo shows us the suspects.
The damage from this shooting is still visible today. You can see how bullet holes are still in the windows and how some glass windows and doors had to be boarded up. Houston police say that preliminary investigation reveals that this incident was a targeted drive-by attack.
A chaotic scene surrounded this gas station on the 2400 block of South Wayside Drive. Police say around 8 o'clock Monday night, a black Cadillac Escalade with 4 men arrived at the gas station. 2 men went inside the store and then returned to the vehicle. That's when police say 2 men in a gray Dodge Charger and 2 men in a gray Mercedes-Benz sedan arrived at the gas station armed with long guns.
These suspects exited their vehicles and started shooting at the complainant's vehicle.
2 of the men inside the victim's car got out and ran to go inside the gas station store. 1 of them was hit by gunfire multiple times. The 4 suspects then drove away. Police released these surveillance video images showing some of the wanted suspects in an effort to see if the public can identify them. 1 of the men with the victim car was taken to a hospital and pronounced dead. He was 34. Another man with the victim car, who is 29, was injured and taken to a hospital and was listed as in critical condition.
I do believe that these individuals in the Escalade were targeted, and our homicide detectives will be interviewing the 2 that we have currently on scene to gather more information.
Police say 1 of the men with the victim car was armed, but it's not clear if he fired back at the suspects.
South Park developed in the early 1950s as a series of tract home subdivisions along South Park Boulevard, emerging as a post-World War II suburb on Houston's southeast side. The neighborhood's earliest sections consisted of modest frame homes on small lots, built to provide affordable housing during Houston's rapid suburban expansion fueled by population growth and the petrochemical industry. Historically, South Park's reputation for violence dates back decades, with drive-by shootings, drug-related activity, and other serious offenses once dominating the community in the 1980s and 1990s and contributing to long-standing safety concerns. Although some broader citywide crime trends have fluctuated in recent years, South Park is still frequently cited as one of the Houston areas with persistent challenges around assaults, robberies, and other violent incidents, reflecting ongoing public safety issues for residents and law enforcement alike. South Park notable gangs and hoods. TSF/Mash Mode 102 Neighborhood Pyro. The Sauce Factory, TSF, formerly known as Mash Mode, is a Houston-based record label. Sauce Walker serves as the CEO and central figure of TSF, overseeing the brand's direction as both a music label and a street-influenced collective. As the face of TSF, He manages artist development, releases, branding, and public presence, positioning the group as a recognizable Houston-based movement. Sauce Walka's leadership role dates back to the group's early days, when it was known as Mash Mode, and he went by AWalk. Through his management, TSF has maintained a strong identity rooted in Houston culture, independence, and self-promotion. Third Ward. Third Ward is conveniently located southeast of downtown and is bounded by I-45 on the east, State Highway 288 on the west, Wentworth and Blodgett to the south, and Spur 5 running north back to Interstate 45. Third Ward is home to about 14,790 residents. Third Ward consistently records some of the highest crime levels in the city, with violent and property offenses occurring at rates far above national norms. Recent estimates indicate an assault rate of approximately 2,431 incidents per 100,000 residents, a robbery rate near 1,509 per 100,000, and a homicide rate of about 97.8 per 100,000, dramatically exceeding U.S. averages of roughly 283, 135, and 6.1 respectively.
Teenagers are recovering in the hospital after a large house party in Houston's Third Ward ended in gunfire, and police say the shooter is still on the run. Michelle Troy has the very latest on what led up to the shooting at a short-term rental home on Blodgett Street and what investigators are still working to piece together.
Houston police say what started as a party at a short-term rental in the Third Ward quickly turned chaotic late Saturday night. Officers were called to this home along Blodgett Street around 11:30, where they say roughly 70 teenagers had gathered.
Once officers arrived to the area, they found a large crowd of juveniles in the area.
Police say an argument between two women inside the party escalated, spilling outside into a nearby parking lot.
Some sort of an altercation took place between two females at the party. That altercation trickled over to a nearby parking lot across the street.
That's when shots were fired. Two 17-year-old boys were hit, one suffering a gunshot wound to the abdomen and now listed in critical condition. The other was shot in the foot.
At this point, we have no idea who the shooter is. The people that were present at the party have not seen him. They do not know if he was from the party.
Known by some as the Tray, Third Ward is one of Houston's 6 original neighborhoods and one of its most historically significant neighborhoods. Originally established in the 1830s as one of the city's first political wards. Its boundaries and character have shifted over time, but the area southeast of downtown became known as a center of black life, culture, and community. Beyoncé grew up in the Riverside Terrace area of Third Ward and features the neighborhood in her music video No Angel from her 2013 self-titled fifth album Beyoncé. By the early 20th century, Third Ward was a thriving, diverse community. Following World War II and into the mid-1900s, it emerged as a predominantly black neighborhood as white residents moved to newer suburbs and black migrants from Louisiana, East Texas, and the Deep South settled there in search of opportunity. In the late 1930s, CUNY Homes was constructed as one of Houston's first public housing projects. Named after Norris Wright CUNY, a Texas politician who assisted black people during the Reconstruction. Built to provide affordable housing for low-income black families during the New Deal era, the development included multiple apartment buildings designed to address overcrowding and poor living conditions in the city's segregated neighborhoods. Known locally as the Bricks, CUNY Homes was also the childhood home of Third Ward resident George Floyd, where his family moved when he was a young child. In recent decades, Third Ward has faced new pressures from urban development and gentrification, with rising housing costs and new construction reshaping parts of the neighborhood. These shifts have sparked efforts by residents and local organizations to preserve Third Ward's heritage, celebrate its cultural legacy, and support inclusive community growth even as the area evolves. Third Ward notable gangs and hoods. Sunnyside. Sunnyside is located on Houston's south side and is generally bounded by Loop 610 south to the north, Highway 288 to the west, Sims Bayou to the south, and an irregular eastern boundary that meanders through mixed land uses west of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Sunnyside has a population of approximately 22,562 residents. And a murder rate around 54 per 100,000.
Two women hit in the middle of the road, and right now the search is on for the driver. Your news at noon starts right now. Houston police are looking for a hit-and-run driver after two women were killed fighting in the street. You're taking a look at the video of the argument. We paused the video before the women were hit. It happened in Houston's Sunnyside community earlier this morning. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ron Trevino. Igochi Iloka has more on this tragedy and spoke exclusively to one woman who says she's a friend of one of the victims.
Latonia Rome told me about the fight that spilled onto this street off of Cullen Boulevard and how one of the women involved was her best friend.
And the car just ran her over and dang, she dead. And I was like, oh, shoot. It can't be, because I just bought her a soda water from the store.
We have surveillance video of that fight. A warning, you may find it difficult to watch. In this clip, you can see one woman approaching another woman in the street and begin swinging. Then the two women start fighting and wrestling in the southbound lanes of Cullen Boulevard, just a few blocks off Reed Road, around 3:35 a.m. this morning. Shortly after that, you see headlights shining on both women in the middle of the road. This is where we freeze the video because what happens next is devastating. Houston police say a driver in a red sedan strikes the two women and runs over them.
How can you just not see someone in the street and just completely just hit them, just keep on going?
Both women sadly died on site. Here's a different camera angle of the red sedan driving off after the double hit and run deadly incident.
A 2013 Neighborhood Scout crime study using data from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, ranked Sunnyside 6th among the 25 most dangerous neighborhoods in the United States. These patterns reflect long-standing public safety challenges in Sunnyside, where violence, theft, and gang-related activity have contributed to a community reputation for insecurity and high victimization risk, even as local leaders and police implement targeted interventions to improve conditions. Sunnyside notable gangs and hoods.
I never will forget my first time thinking shit I come candy with red, of course, because it turns heads or instead the nigga ain't scared to roll, stroll, and hold up the strip. You know I wear blue cause I'm Badu Super grip on the cut. What else shall I think? Should I hit that?